Hey, my friends, have you subscribed to this channel? Here is your opportunity. If you have not, please do me a favor and hit this subscribe button. By doing so, you will be helping me to share this video and the content of this channel. So please be sure to hit the notification bell to be notified of any new video posted. Today, as I promised you, I will share part 2 of the sermon preached by Pastor Dwight Nelson on Revelation chapter 13. Some things may sound a little bit familiar, but I could guarantee you that the message is different. It went further into the chapter, and a lot more information is shared, more than you had in part 1. So please, my friend, take a listen and hope that you will be blessed.
All right. I happen to believe I have these 3 red-hot convictions. Conviction number 1, I believe we're living on the edge of eternity. That's absolutely what I believe. I'm unabashed about it. Because number 2, I believe Jesus is coming soon. I don't pussyfoot around. I don't want to head, well, maybe not. No. I believe Jesus is coming soon. And if you die on the way home, he just came for you. So let's not dismiss that. People say, oh, well, hey, wait a minute. Time out. Are we Adventists? Are we Seventh-day Adventists? We believe in the soon coming of Christ. We quit apologizing for it. We're always putting in these little escape clauses so that our neighbors never can pin it down on us. Well, he didn't really come in that soon. Why we do that? We don't need to do it. Stand up for what you believe without apology. You'll be fine. You'll survive. But I want to share with you an illustration I got from a guy named, an economic researcher named Chris Martenson. He's also a futurist. ChrisMartenson.com, I think it is. I've never forgotten this illustration. I'm going to put Fenway Park on the screen right now. Because those of you that are not into Major League Baseball, that's the home of the Boston White Sox. I just was seeing if you were listening. Thank you for the correction. All right, so that's Fenway Park for the Red Sox, of course. And so Martinson says, hey, let's do this. He says, I'm going to take you up to the highest bleach. So you see the right field line there. You see the Budweiser, right? The highest nosebleed little bleachers. Yeah, your seats. I'm going to take you up there, and I'm going to handcuff you to that seat. And then I'm going to say, oh, just give me some time. I'm going to walk all the way down to the pitcher's mound. You know where the pitcher's mound is. And I'm going to stand on the pitcher's mound, and at 12 o'clock sharp, 12 noon sharp, I'm going to take my magic eyedropper, and I'm going to drop a single drop of water on the pitcher's mound. You can picture it. Now, the reason it's a magic eyedropper is because every 60 seconds, it doubles. So it's first is 1, and then what's the second one going to be? The next minute, how many drops will there be? 2, and then another minute? 4. Come on, guys. 4, 8, come on. We're on a roll now. 8, what's after 8? 10 is close. Very close. 16. Okay, and that's as far as I can go. So you get the picture. Now, here's the deal. We're going to imagine that Fenway Park is watertight. There's a roof on it, and it's watertight. Okay? And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to extricate yourself from that handcuff before the water reaches you, because you'll be gone if the water reaches you. How much time do you have? 12 noon, bing, 1 magic drop down. How much time do you have? Well, let me help you out. 44 minutes later, the stadium has only 5 feet of water in it. 93% empty. Do you understand that? 93% empty. Now how much time do you have? 12:44. You have 5 minutes, sir. You have 5 minutes, or you'll be dead. The point of the illustration, Chris Martenson, excellent point for Adventists. It's the last 5 minutes that count. And then it's over. It's the power of compounding, isn't that it? That's how compounding works. Keeps doubling, 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 doubling. Oh, once I found that, a friend of mine put me on that website, I said, oh my Lord. This whole thing can wrap up. Well, let me tell you this, he has what he calls the hockey stick graphs. So you know the shape of a hockey stick. Did they play hockey out here? It's too warm. Of course you do. Hockey stick. Right? It's not this up. No, hockey stick goes level, level. Okay, so he says we have all these hockey stick graphs that are coming to a perfect storm. Population of the earth. No problem, no problem, no problem. Get to 2000, it starts going up. Oil depletion. No problem, no problem, no problem. Suck it up, suck it up. We can drink all we want. Now. Water on the planet. Same thing. Hockey stick. National debt. Oh, man. You know the numbers they're throwing around in Washington right now? Unbelievable. Trillions and trillions now. It all comes, the perfect storm is when they all come in together. And that's what he says. That's where we're heading. Well, that made a believer out of me. You know, I used to say, well, I know Jesus is coming soon. Here are all the signs he's coming. And we're going to look at the last unfulfilled apocalyptic prophecy before the return of Christ. But yeah, you know, it's going to take time, and that's going to happen. No, you're missing the whole point. Let me put Martinson on the screen here. And I'll get this. There we go. Can you see it there? Chris Martinson says, and that right there illustrates one of the key features of compound growth. The one thing I want you to take away from this illustration of Fenway Park. Okay, I see what's happening now. With exponential functions, the action really only heats up when? Last few moments. Ellen White, you heard of her. 5'2" American woman writer, one of the 3 founders of our faith community. She writes, great changes are soon to take place in our world, and the final movements will be long and drawn out. No. Last 5 minutes, that's her point. One more, that apocalyptic classic, great controversy. The end will come more quickly than people expect. I'm just saying, if Chris Martinson, secular economist, is saying, come on, keep your eyes on what's going on around you. That's good counsel probably for all of us, wouldn't you say? All right, so now, Revelation 13:1. Open your Bible to Revelation 13:1. We spent the whole first service in 13:1. We're going to get beyond it now. But because my aunt and uncle here, and some of you who are not in first service, I'm going to put the list on the screen. I'm not going to tell you what to believe about Revelation 13. I am going to give you the clues that are embedded in the actual document itself. No outside quotes will come in and say, well, now you got to believe this. No. I'm just going to put them up on the screen. You can take a picture of this screen and you will have 5 of the 6. I've saved the 6th one, which to me is and it's just occurred to me over the last few weeks and months. This is the clincher for me. Maybe not for you. But let's just put them up on the screen right now. They said, Dwight, if you use our iPad, you'll get it. And I got it at first service. It takes me a while to get back into it. Okay, so there they are. Okay, I'm going to stay on that slide just for a second. You can take a picture of it. This is all from the text itself. But first, we got to read first Revelation 13, verse 11. Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. We'll get back to that text. It's not on the screen now. Then I saw a second beast. That means there's a first beast somewhere in this story. I saw a second beast coming up out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. That's as far as we got. But let me just say a word or two about what's on the screen right now. Clue number 1, it springs up from the earth. The Greek word is anabino. So when Matthew is retelling Jesus' parable of the sower, remember he talks about these weeds that just went shot up. That's what's going on. Whatever this power is, we know nothing about it yet. We just know anabino, up. It suddenly appears. Okay? Clue number 1. Clue number 2, it springs up from the earth. Now that's in contradistinction to the first beast who, guess what, springs up from the sea. And so in circles where the people spend a lot of time studying Revelation, they'll call it the sea beast is the first one, and the earth beast is the second one. We're concerned about the earth beast. Now the sea beast is a big player. It's huge. And if I got to do this, I don't have a slide for it, but if you just read the first verse of Revelation 13, the dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming up out of the sea. Here you go. And it had 10 horns and 7 heads. Bill Johnson, longtime editor of the Adventist Review, he used to call these monsters. These are monsters. These are the beasts of nightmares. I mean, Daniel is filled with them. You got 2 of them in this chapter. And there's other crazy stuff happening after this chapter. But all we want to concentrate on is that second beast. So it had 10 horns and 7 heads with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. Has to be religious power. Religious power is blaspheming the God of the universe. So whatever this sea beast is, it has the trappings of religion on it. All right? Okay, so it springs up from the earth. And oh, by the way, because it springs up from the earth, it's far away from the water. And the angel Gabriel in Revelation 17, you can look this up some other time, verse 20, the angel says, hey, John, the water where you saw this prostitute sitting on the beast, that water represents people. People everywhere. So now we know that the water, where the sea beast comes up, it comes out of the crossroads of civilization. It will. It'll be Western Europe. It'll be right there. It comes up there, but far away from the water, in a barren land, the earth beast pops up. Oh, okay. Clue number 3, then I saw the second beast. What's going on? Well, the word then means something's happened here, and something's happened here, and then I saw the second beast. So what's happened just before the word then appears? I'll remind you, because you first service people are back, and God bless you. Then is talking about a sequence. And the sequence, and I have to share this with you. Verse 3 of the sea beast, this blaspheming God, verse 3 of Revelation 13, one of its heads of the sea beast had a fatal wound, and this is the NIV, but the fatal wound had been healed, and the whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. Fatal wound. That's not a little, as I said to the first service, that's not a little, oh man, you hate it. Don't you hate that? And you have to put that little white stick on or whatever, stop the bleeding. No, this is fatal wound. Plague of death in the Greek. Head gone. This beast one day will resurrect. The sea beast is an imitation of Jesus. 7 imitations of Jesus. The sea beast. It will resurrect. It'll come back from the dead. It'll come back to life. And when we look at history, you can Google this. You'll have it in 15 minutes. In 1798, because the sea beast, Protestant reformers are absolutely clear. That sea beast, they say, is the Antichrist power that rules from Rome for 1,260 years. It's this power. And guess what? 1798, bad day for Rome. Head gone. What happened? Napoleon Bonaparte, the famous French general, sent an underling general named Berthier down. He says, take the Pope Pius VI, take Pius VI, bring him here, and he's going to die in captivity. Wounded, stop. Right there, God pronounces a word of doom. And if you look at verse 10, is it verse 10? Yeah, in verse 10. Verse 10 reads, if he who killed with the sword will be killed, he who took others' captivity will be taken captive. And that's what happened. Okay, so 1798, let's see, that's when the wound happened. What's happening to a little country on the other side of the Atlantic from the peopled thoroughfares of England? What's happening over there? 1776. What happened on 1776? Fellow Americans, what happened? Declaration of Independence. What happened in 1787 and then ratified in 1788? U.S. Constitution, the greatest document of human liberty on the planet today, bar none. So at the time that the sea beast is wounded, the earth beast is beginning to stretch into existence. And guess what? If you read the rest of the chapter, this earth beast becomes a global superpower that will give command to the entire human race. You will do as we say, or else. Wow. Well, what's that have to do with today? Everything. All right. Let me just finish this. It has two horns. So this earth beast has two horns like a lamb. Who's the hero of the book of Revelation? The Lamb. 29 times the word lamb appears. The Lamb of God. From the creation of earth, the Lamb who from the creation of earth was offered up in sacrifice. Of course, it's Jesus, 29 times. So this power can look Christian. Doesn't make this power Christian. It can look like, little lammy horns. And by the way, those two horns, how many crowns are on the two horns? First service people, you help the rest. How many crowns are on the two horns? 0, not a none. How many crowns are on the sea beast? 10. 10 horns, 10 crowns. Wow, what's going on here? Well, whatever this power is, it's not a monarchy. The sea beast is, that's what you do with kings. I would never kiss King Charles' hand, though. I don't think I would ever do that. It's not right. Well, Americans have said with stiff spines that we don't bow to any king on earth. Well, that's kind of our, independent streak. So this has two horns like a lamb. Youthful, obviously, because little lammies have these horns. Everybody knows little lamb has those little bumps. No crowns on it. So it cannot be a monarchy. Whatever this power is not a monarchy. And many suggest that those two horns are the civil and religious liberty that have been the unique distinction that the Statue of Liberty has provided ever since it's been in the New York Harbor and before. 250 years coming up, 2026. 250 years this nation has existed. Civil liberty. Roger Williams, you ever heard of Roger Williams? Not the pianist. Roger Williams, the English Baptist pastor who with his wife, Mary, 28 years old, they flee the persecution in England. They get to our shores, and Williams takes one look at this shore, and he says, my Lord, this is exactly what we fled. Massachusetts Bay Colony, what are they doing? They're using the state, the government, to enforce the church's rules. Any history book on America will tell you this. I'm not inventing something. He says, you got to keep the state, you got to keep church and state apart, guys. This is what we don't want. They hated him in Boston. They drove him up to Salem. They hated him in Salem. They drove him down to Plymouth Rock. The pilgrims said, you're out of here. They were coming to execute him or banish him back to England. He got word. Turns out the governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and this is John Barry's book, Creation of the American Soul. The governor sent a word to him. You better run. They're coming for you. Which I thought was a great deal. Jonathan Winthrop, you've heard that name. Anyway, so 3 days, northeaster blizzard going on. Under the cover of that blizzard, Roger Williams escapes. He goes to the American Indians, Native Americans. He had befriended them. He said, we should be reaching these people. And the rest you know. He formed a colony, a state. And what's the name of that state? Come on, you history buffs. Come on, who is it? Rhode Island. Well, the older members know. We've kind of gotten out of geography, haven't we? For most of our schools. Yeah. Anyway, Rhode Island. And the Founding Fathers looked at what Roger Williams did and said, that's America. And in just 3 moments, I'm going to prove that to you from some documents from American history. All right? Okay, so one more clue. Oh, no, wait a minute, there's 6. Oh, that's right. I promised the people in first, you come back, we're going to get the 6th clue. And that's this, for me, is huge. For others, you say, well, who cares? Clue number 5, it speaks like a, okay, help me out. Come on, Bible students. Who's the dragon in the apocalypse? Well, who is he? Satan, of course. That old serpent called the devil who deceives the whole world, that's the dragon. Speaks like a dragon. Looks like a lamb, speaks like a dragon. And you know what? America has been speaking like a dragon from the very day of its inception. He said, prove it to me. I will. Native Americans were driven off their own land. They weren't paid a penny, not a penny, till every state in the union now has a little corner up in the corner where, okay, this will be your reservation now. Now, when you're here, you can drink all you want, do everything you want to do, but you got to stay here. He said, you're oversimplifying it. I am not. We have been racist as a nation from the beginning. Racist against American Indians, the native peoples, the first peoples. It's embarrassing to be an American and admit that. But let's quit playing games, because there's one other racism that was embedded at the very founding of this nation. Human trafficking, African slaves. A racism that has never left us. The Civil War solved nothing. Nothing. And that's the America we live in today. Do I love this land? I love it with all my heart. Grew up as a missionary's kid, 14 years in Japan, 3 years in Singapore with Uncle Ralph and Aunt Pat, when the academy was there. I grew up when you drive by the flag in a place like Japan, oh boy, your heart goes boom, boom, wow. Oh, beautiful, oh, beautiful, oh, beautiful for spacious skies, right? We were flying out here, and I'm looking down and thinking that song, for amber waves of grain. Something's bad. Something's not good. You see, I have these three burning convictions. Number one, we're living on the edge of eternity. Number two, Jesus is coming soon. And number three, America is in big, big trouble. And if you haven't been watching with your eyes open and with your heart in prayer, you may not have seen some of this. I don't relish pointing this out, but I'm an Adventist first, an American second. And this church I love, if we sleep through this, it's adios. You just missed your golden moment. It's gone. Okay, Ranko Stefanovic. Okay, friend of mine, wrote probably the definitive commentary on the book of Revelation in the Adventist community. In this, he writes, it appears that no single religious or political entity in modern history matches the description of the earth beast as does the United States of America. The United States emerged on the historical arena after the medieval ecclesiastical system had received its mortal wound. We've just covered that. This nation has become a major dominant power in the world. Keep going. As the leading democratic power on this planet, it has been admired for its political and religious tolerance and freedoms from the beginning, by the way. Today, the United States exercises a major role in world affairs. So far, this power clearly resembles the two-horned beast, the earth beast. Revelation 13, however, seems to foretell, this is the bad news part, a key religious political role for the United States in the final crisis. Wow. America in trouble? Are you kidding? Keep reading. So we've already done 11, but I want to read 11 again, so we'll run into it now. Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. Now, verse 12. It exercised all the authority of the first beast. That's the sea beast. It's Rome. On its behalf, it becomes a defender of the sea beast. And made the earth, this superpower that grew up in this abandoned land, so to speak, made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast whose fatal wound had been healed. Now, how could that humanly even be possible? Okay, how could that be possible in a church and state separating land that America has been from the beginning? Well, it shouldn't happen at all unless you factor in a crisis. Because when a crisis strikes, all bets are off. You know that. In your own life, it's that way. In the life of a community, it's that way. Once there's a crisis, well, yeah, but Dwight, what kind of crisis are you talking about? Well, who cares? Domestic crisis. Hey, September 11th, 2001, was that a crisis? Are you kidding? It's changed forever our lives. We don't travel the same anymore. It's been terrible. But that's just it. We've gotten used to it. Once that crisis came, so all it takes is a crisis. Watch this. Whatever the crisis, and George McCready Price, by the way, calls Earth's last generation the last and best educated generation of mankind. This is the brightest of the human race. Look at this. This is it. That's where we are at. Even the brightest, in the face of a crisis, are willing to say, well, maybe we don't know. I'm putting it on the screen right now. This is the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. And how does it read? Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Keep your hands off. Roger Williams said, listen, you can have the first 4 commandments. No, you leave for the church the first 4 commandments. We'll give you the 6. And he was making a good point. You know, don't steal, don't lie, don't commit adultery, be kind to your parents, you know, all of that. William said, that's your part of the 10 Commandments. The church alone has one. You shall have no other gods. You should not make graven image. You should not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. That's the one we know. That one belongs to the church and not the government. Period. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So we're not up here daydreaming out loud together. Something obviously in this story that the apocalypse is picking up, something terrible and tragic has transpired. We are not told what, but we are told that it will be. Watch this, Daniel. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. The end. Jesus comes along in red letters, says, guess what? Daniel's absolutely right. This is Jesus in Matthew 24, 21. For then there will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. In fact, if those days had not been cut short, nobody would have survived. The human race would not have survived. But for the sake of the elect, my friends on earth, the days will be shortened. If we let this thing go, we're all wiped out. It's over. So don't tell me there's no crisis coming. We have narrowly averted a crisis in the last 2 years. And you know that and I do. No, there will be a crisis. And I want you to listen to this. If there is a crisis, social scientist Michael Barkin, who studied the effects of disasters and crises on the human psyche, this is dynamite. So I've yellowed one word just to make sure you see it. What's that word in yellow? Disaster. When there is a disaster, disaster produces the questioning, the anxiety, the suggestibility that are required, and he's been talking about, for rapid alteration of belief systems. And that's what we're very interested in. Rapid alteration of belief systems. Only in disaster's wake are people moved to abandon what? Old values of the past. When we're under the gun. Hey, listen, I remember with the September 11, about 3 days afterward, I was reading the South Bend Tribune, which is a newspaper. You know what a newspaper is? The paper goes up about like this, and then when you open it, you get black all over your fingers, but that's how you get the news, right? So I read in the South Bend Tribune. I didn't keep it. I wish I'd torn it out. They asked Americans 3 days after the Twin Towers. Oh, what a tragic moment in American history. Hey, listen, would you be willing to give up a few of your constitutional liberties for the sake of security so that this does not happen again? Yeah, well, 60, somewhere, the number is 60-something, said, well, yeah, for the sake of security, you bet. I mean, I'm not going to get lost in this thing. That's what happens. That's what Barkham is talking about. In the face of disaster, all bets are off. What will be the crisis that destabilizes America? Hey, by the way, the pandemic was a shot across the bow. Come on, guys. Medical community that many of you are a part of, that was a shot across the bow. And you guys in California, Tara and I were visiting yesterday. I mean, you really had a You can't even go in this building. Tara showed me, man, our cars were all over this place out there. We could not do it here. No, that was a shot across the bow. The whole planet. Andrews University on March 12 and Chapel March 12. It was a Thursday, and the president said to the students, go back to your dorms, pack your bags, you're not coming home. You're not coming back, you're going home. And we'll let you know when to come back. I mean, it was surreal. That's nothing. That's nothing. What kind of disaster? Well, who knows? All I know is if we keep reading here, come on, take a look at this. Then I saw a second beast coming out of the earth. It had two horns like a lamb, but it spoke like a dragon. Keep reading. It exercised all the authority of the first beast on its behalf and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast whose fatal wound had been healed. Keep reading. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people. What Bible story immediately comes to your mind when you see the fire coming down? You're absolutely right, madam. Yep. Mount Carmel. Isn't that something? Mount Carmel. So this is a little echo from the Old Testament, just to remind us what happened at Mount Carmel. Let's see, Mount Carmel was one lonely, faithful believer in the Creator God. What's his name? 850 unbelievers in the Creator God who believed and worshiped the sun worshiping false prophets. 850 to 1. Was that a tough moment for Elijah? Of course it was. Maybe his heart was just as calm as could be. I don't know. That was a showdown. Now it's reversed. The earth beast and the 850 false prophets rejecting the Creator. We don't need the Creator's day anymore. We're going with the sun, as in Sunday. Reversal. It's a very poignant insertion by John. Flip the story. Well, you won't forget it now. That's what's going on. Wow. Well, I know there's something right here. Okay, yeah, here it is. So I'll put this in writing for you so you can just look at it and say, yeah, that makes sense. Okay? Fire from heaven, 1 Kings 18, the showdown between the true prophet and the false prophets. Revelation 13, the sun-worshiping false prophet now is against the Creator's true people. Reversal. And now, enter the final clue. You ready? Now here you'll have all 6 on the screen at the same time. This will be the only time you have all 6 on the screen. Number 6. This earth beast is, what's AKA stand for? Also known as the false prophet. You don't see it in Revelation 13. The earth beast is mentioned in 16, 19, and 20. Oh, what's going on now? Well, let's just make sure that Dwight's not making this up. Let's look at 19:20. But the sea beast was captured. This is at the return of Christ, by the way. This is the good news ending. Boom, boom, it's over. But the sea beast was captured, and with it the what? The false prophet. Who's the false prophet? Well, he's the one that performed the signs on behalf of the sea beast. So it's the earth beast. That nickname, I now realize for the first time, is not a coincidence. This earth beast begins to behave like a false prophet. And now I need you to have every ounce of thinking and reasoning in operation. Because I'm gonna suggest to you why that's so important. Well, Dwight, would you just please finish the story first? Okay. So now we know, so we got the Mount Carmel story. Now, here comes another Bible story. And the earth beast ordered the world to set up an image in the honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. Keep reading. The second beast was given power to give breath, that's the earth beast, to the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be what? Adios, you're dead. There's another Bible story just as important, hinted right there. And I'll give you one clue, Shadrach. What's the next one? And what's the third one? Abednego. Why do we know those three boys? Because an image was put in front of them, a shining image with the most powerful kingdom on earth, and the command was given to them, you will bow down to this image or you're dead meat. Do you understand me, boys? King, live forever. No, we understand you quite well. Our God is able to deliver us from that 7 times hotter fiery furnace. But even if he chooses not to, come on, young adults, even if he chooses not to, we will not bow down to that image. And that's what's going on right there. That's what's going on. Okay, we'll kill you. Okay, well, that's the ending. That's it. Straight out of the scripture. What's that tell us? You know what that tells us? There's going to be a strong arm exerted one day for the end game to be written. It will have developed strength. People will have become used to this power, saying, you will do this, and you will do that, and you will. And one day, it'll say, you will worship this way, or it's adios. That's all it's saying. Could it happen here? Okay, listen to me carefully now. Here we go. Put your seatbelt on, because we're flying. Consider this new wing of American evangelical political ambition called Christian nationalism. You say, Dwight, what is Christian nationalism? Here's a pithy definition from the Anabaptist Mennonite Biblical Seminary just south of the Indiana-Michigan border where I live. And I thought this was a dynamic illustration, a definition of Christian nationalism. You see it on the screen. Christian nationalism, in short, is a worldview where one's theological imagination is co-opted by state power. Keep reading. It exchanges the church's loyalty to the Lord of peace for a false god fashioned by the myth of American exceptionalism. Keep reading. In fact, Christian nationalism is a form... Whoa, am I reading and nothing's on the screen? I'm so excited with this definition. Okay, next, we'll go back. It exchanges the... I wonder why you're just quietly sitting here. Okay. It exchanges the church's loyalty to the Lord of peace for a false god fashioned by the myth of American exceptionalism. In fact, Christian nationalism is a form of political idolatry that distorts our knowledge of God and neighbor through a xenophobic... Do you know what xenophobic means? Fear of the foreigner. No, you don't belong in this country. Fear of the foreigner. Racialized. Well, around here, we're not like you. And militarized, we will fight and kill for this. We'll bring all the troops out. A militarized gospel that is at odds with the life and teachings of Jesus. This makes my heart ache. I mean, here's Jesus, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. He dies on Calvary, the Lord of peace. And this country that has been so blessed by God will turn and say, no, we rule, and you do it this way or you're dead. Oh, mercy. God deliver us. Tim, Alberta. You in first service heard this, so I'm going to repeat it because the second service people need to hear it. This book came out a year ago from December. Title of the book are the last 3 nouns of the Lord's Prayer. For thine is the... Okay, and then subtitle, American Evangelicals in an Age of Extremism. Bright young journalist, Tim, Alberta. In this book, and I'll just put it on the screen, he begins to draw the veil away. What's going on here? I'm going to show you. Tim, Alberta. Does that show up for you? In February 2023, a landmark national survey conducted by the Public Research Institute and Brookings Institution found that roughly 2/3 of white evangelicals, now that's a word that will keep appearing, white evangelicals either explicitly supported the notion of Christian nationalism or were sympathetic to it. The share of white evangelicals who expressed support for certain ideas. Okay, so here are the ideas that white evangelical Christian nationalists embrace. Number one, I put the numbers in. Number one, that the government should declare Christianity the state religion. Heard of that? Number two, that being Christian is an important part of being an American. You want to be a good American, you be a Christian. Oh, excuse me, sir, Islam, I'm sorry. Excuse me, sir, Hindu, I'm sorry. Excuse me, sir, Buddhist, I'm sorry. And number three, that God has called on Christians to exercise dominion over all areas of society. That percentage of white evangelicals dwarf that of white mainline Protestants, white Catholics, and Protestants of color. Keep reading. Nearly 90% of white adherents to Christian nationalism agreed that God intended America to be a new promised land run by European Christians. That is an utterly racist statement. That's a dog whistle. That's all it is. You know what it's saying? White supremacy. We rule. You follow. Do we have this understanding? Are we clear on this? We rule. You follow. That's what's gurgling up from the depths in this Christian nationalism movement. And I'm going to show you a subset of the movement that is on high octane in just a split second. I'm concerned. I think half of the church has no clue what's going on. This crowd being an exception, of course. Nobody's thinking about this. Nobody's thinking about it. It's just news. It's just news. Well, you know, you go through these things. It'll change. And by the way, I don't talk about any political player. I don't talk about any political party. I don't need to. This is something coming. This is a train in a tunnel with a light coming this way. It's a slow motion train wreck. And we're just going to sit here and keep playing our games, whatever it is we do. Going on as if the world's going to last forever. No, we're on the edge of eternity and Jesus is coming soon. Do you understand that? He's coming soon. Okay, here's the high octane. A friend of mine gave me this book. I get a lot of good books by good friends who think of me and say, Dwight, you need to read this. And I'm so glad I did. Matthew B. Taylor, you see his name at the top. Title of his book, The Violent Take It by Force. You remember the red letter words of Jesus who described the kingdom of God being taken by force. There are actual Christians who believe they're supposed to take Christian nationalists. Well, that's what we do. We take it by force. Let me tell you about Matthew D. Taylor. He's a young Baptist scholar, currently senior scholar at the Institute for Islamic, Christian, and Jewish Studies in Baltimore. This brand of high-octane Christian nationalism is called the National Apostolic Reformation. So I'll put a quote on the screen for you now. So it's called the NAR. The NAR's National Apostolic Reformation. And by the way, this came from Peter Wagner. I studied under Dr. Wagner at Fuller Theological Seminary, back when he was champion of church growth. He eventually converted to Pentecostalism. The faculty there signed a petition that said he can't be teaching here, and they let him go. He formed this group. He visioned it into existence, and he's the father of it. He died tragically, unexpectedly, 2016. The New Apostolic Reformation. What is it? Well, let's just read it here. The NAR's theological ideas around politics and spiritual warfare are increasingly setting the agenda for the religious right in America and quickening our polarized, zero-sum political environment. Keep reading. They believe that in these momentous latter days, how many Adventists believe that we're living in momentous latter days? Yeah, they believe just like us, that these are momentous latter days. They believe in these momentous latter days, God has reinvigorated the church through the Holy Spirit-backed renewed leadership of apostles and prophets. So they self-appointed, I am now a prophet. And God has been sending me messages. That's how it works. I am now an apostle, which means I lead you. There's a band. They're not tied to any charismatic denomination. They're loosely knit, but they are powerful. And in a moment, I'll just show you where they are. Okay. They believe Christians need to conquer the high places of influence in society and government and rule from the top down. It's called the 7 Mountain Movement. So here are the 7 mountains. Government, 1. Business, 2. Education, we're going to rule education. You see what's happening already. Number 4, media. Number 5, arts and entertainment. Number 6, religion. And number 7, family. 7 Mountain Movement. Self-coined by these self-declared apostles and prophets. Wow. This stuff is pretty serious. Yeah. Well, I got to keep going here. And they also believe that God has mandated them to use spiritual violence to defeat Satan and then build the kingdom of God on earth. And I want to tell you something. January 6, 2021, while the rabble was doing what it was doing, they were meeting around the corner, having a praise session. 1970, 44 million independent, not non-denominational, charismatics on the planet. 44 million, 1970. By 2020, after his death, it was 312 million. This is not a little impotent force. They have an agenda, and they're working it hard, and it's happening fast. So what's that mean for us? That means that we need to sit up. We need to wake up. I'm going to give you one more and then show you an illustration that to me is my final piece. And that is, you asked me the question, hey, Dwight, do you believe God raised up America? Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you believe our founding fathers intended to create a Christian nation? Absolutely not. Not. They never did. I'm going to run some quotes by you. You just have to take my word for it. These are books in my library. Isaac Kramnik and Lawrence Moore, both constitutional scholars in Ivy League schools, and here they have written a book called The Godless Constitution. It's in my library, and here's just a line from it. God and Christianity are nowhere to be found in the American Constitution, a reality that infuriated many at the time. The U.S. Constitution, drafted in 1787 and ratified in 1788, is a godless document. In fact, this underdocumented and under-remembered controversy of 1787 to 1788 over the godless Constitution was one of the most important public debates ever held in America over the place of religion in politics. The advocates of a secular state won, and it is their Constitution we revere today. Now, there's some who are trying to rewrite America's history for dark ends. It's not a spiritual revival they're seeking. They're looking for political power, and they need all the support they can. And so, God bless us American evangelicals, because we're all evangelicals. Sometimes we just fall for it. And we believe, you're right. America was created to be a Christian nation. Why didn't I think of that? No, that's not the truth at all. Another book in my library, John Meacham. This is the American Gospel. In a treaty with the Muslim nation Tripoli. So Libya had a capital called Tripoli. So they used to call it apparently Tripoli as a nation. Initiated by President Washington, completed by John Adams, and ratified by the Senate in 1797. In this treaty, direct quote, the founders declared that, quote, the government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion, end quote. Am I making this up? No. Is this something you dreamed up, Dwight? No. It's all documented. That's the point. Roger Williams was right. I read a quotation from Great Controversy where that woman said, that man did what God needed to be done. He set up a land, a colony, where church and state were kept separate. And ever since, and I made the italics in the quote, ever since, America has been guided by that critical separation of church and state. So anybody that comes and tells you, oh, didn't you know America was Christian from the beginning? You can just be polite and say, forget it. Dead wrong. Categorically, patently false. But they're running and selling books all over the country, and people are buying them saying, isn't this great? We're going to make America Christian again now. And I fear that some Adventists are being drawn into this deceptive political web and narrative. God has raised up this nation, I believe it with all my heart, this land to be a safe haven where church and state would be kept apart. No king to rule the church and no pope to rule the nation. That's America. That's the Constitution. Like she wrote, oh, this is true, isn't it? The Lord has done more for the United States than for any other country upon what? Upon which the sun shines. Now, back at Pioneer, no longer pastor that church. Karen and I are there every Sabbath supporting the new pastor. He's doing a wonderful job, Shane Anderson. We had at one time 95 nations represented. You have a pretty high international community here in just Azure Hills. Come on. God is blessing the world. I get it. But what's her point? Her point is the Lord has done more for the United States than for any other country upon which the sun shines. This is not condoning the separation of God and country. Listen. Separation of church and state does not mean the separation of God and country. Do you get that? God's going to bless this country, and He has. The separation of church and state is to keep these winds at bay longer. We need more time. We're not doing it. We're just sitting around. God says, Gabriel, what's it going to take for these people? What is it going to take to wake them up? My Lord, I do not know. Well, I'm not giving up on them. I'm not going to give up on them. No, and He's not. I'm not suggesting that He should. But right after this line, by the way, in that same page, little book Maranatha, but in our land of boasted freedom, religious liberty will come to an end. That's where we're headed right now. That's where we're headed. And we're watching it every day. Every day. A little something here, and a little something there, and a little something there, and a little something there. And one day, it'll be gone. What were we doing? Too late. Sorry. And that's the somber warning of Revelation 13. I end with this. Because some of you are saying, yeah, but come on, Dwight. What's really the big deal? I mean, come on. We've gone this far. What's the big deal? I'll show you the big deal right here. Apocalyptic classic, great controversy. In the movements now in progress in the United States, and this was written, 120, 30 years ago, 40. In the movements now in progress, because America's gone full circle. We were not ready when the first one came around. In the movements now in progress in the United States, that's the earth beast, to secure for the institutions and usages of the church the support of the state, that's Christian nationalism. They said, we got to have it. We got to have it. Did I say it have I said it yet in this service? That Christian nationalism has been formed by the evangelicals because of a failed mission to reach America the regular way. Did I say that here, or was that just in first? That was just first. Aha. Now I'm telling you the truth. Well, why don't you just go witness more? Get more Billy Grahams. Do some more crusades. Nothing wrong with that. We need to be doing the same. But no, everybody's just wanting to have it their way. We're not going to witness. We're going to take power. We'll rule the government one day, and then America will become Christian. Are you serious? Are you serious? You think the ballot box will make America Christian? You're wrong. Dead wrong. So in the movements now in progress, they're attempting to secure the institutions and usages of the church for the support of the state. usages of the church. They're looking for the support of the state. Now, here we go. Protestants are following, in all of this, they're following the steps of papists. That's the sea beast. By the way, the modus operandi of the sea beast, all through its dark and Middle Ages, its strategy is intentional: get the church and the state to unite. If we can rule the king, we got the world. That's the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages. If we get the king, we get the world. That's what Christian nationalism is saying. We'll rule if we get what we need and we get the support. So that's what Ellen White is saying. Protestants are following in the steps of the papists, and that which gives greater significance to this movement. Now, why? Listen. To this movement is the fact that the principal object contemplated is the enforcement of Sunday observance, a custom which originated with Rome and which she claims as the sign of her authority, end quote. First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That's the law of the land. Now, it's possible, I suppose, somebody could just say, it's no longer the law now. No, not another quote. Hey, I asked the question one more time. Can you get there from here? That's all I hope that it will dawn on you, that the outline of Revelation 13 has the framework for this earth beast to eventually lead the whole world to allegiance, to the union of church and state, the church making the decisions and the state enforcing the decisions. Church and state, can you believe it? Church and state, put them back together. Hey, listen, guess what? It's happened before. Let's talk about Calvary before I sit down. Church and state at the cross. You okay with this? Okay, let me show you who's at the cross. The conservatives are there. They're the Pharisees. And they want Jesus dead. Dead. Get rid of him. Anybody else at the cross? Oh, the liberals are there. Not to be left out. The Sadducees. And they want Jesus dead. Kill him. Anybody else at the cross? Oh, the Herodians. They're the nationalists. In fact, they bear the name of the guy they've been cozying up to. Because nationalists believe you get close to the man in power and then he'll do what you need him to do. And so they were called Herodians. Herod was their man. Oh, wow. Anybody else? The governor was there. And he represents all the pagans of the Roman Empire. He was there. He wanted Jesus dead. I don't care if he's innocent. Kill him. And they killed him. Anybody else? Oh, yeah. They're there. The feckless majority. The crowd. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Union of church and state, ladies and gentlemen. Church and state killed the King of the universe. That's simply reminding us one more time, it will happen on earth. Should we be afraid? Are you kidding? Come on, I'm going to end with this. Oh, I love this. Jesus said, I've told you these things so that in me you may, what is it that you'll have in Christ? Oh, you have peace. Now in this world, Jesus said, you're going to have what? You're going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble in this world. Don't think you're getting out of it, ma'am, without trouble. Sir, you're not going to get out of it without trouble. You will have trouble in this world, but take heart. I have what? I have overcome the world. We have nothing to fear for the future, except we forget how God has led us in the past. And he led us in the past, and he's not quitting now. And so you and I must stand tall with our conviction I follow Jesus. I follow Jesus. And wherever he leads, he will give me the strength to go. And I will go with you if you need me to.
I hope you have been blessed by this very timely message. Please take it to heart, my friend, and share this channel with others. Reminding you again, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click on this notification bell so that you can be reminded of any new video that I post on this channel. So may God bless you and your family, and as we prepare for the events of the end time, may God bless you, and I hope to see you again.